All right, Mr. Love here, and today we're going to continue our conversation talking about personal financial literacy. In the first part of this video, we're going to look at the learning target that says, I can explain how education, income, careers, and life choices impact an individual's financial plan and future. Well, nobody wants to grow up and be poor. And one of the best ways that we can avoid that is by making sure that we have a financial plan and that we have a budget. Now, there are various things that can affect your financial future, and I think these are easy to identify, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time going through each and every one of these. But obviously, people who have a higher education have a higher earning capacity within their lifetime. Studies have shown that people who have a higher education have a propensity, have a tendency to make more money in their lifetime. Your career choices can obviously affect your financial future. There are people who choose to go into careers obviously not for the money, but because they maybe more so enjoy what they do, whereas others choose careers that have higher paying jobs. Your life choices. Individuals choose to marry, and if you get married, you go from one income to possibly two incomes, or you're having to support two people off of that same income. So that can affect your earning capacity, your financial future. If a spouse leaves or if a spouse dies, that's going to have an impact on your financial future. Children can definitely, children are expensive, and being able to pay for all the things that kids need is very expensive. And so it's interesting to see that all of these different things are going to affect your financial future. And so I wouldn't expect a very in-depth question on that showing up on your North Carolina final exam, but instead you are familiar with how these things can affect your financial future. So we need to make sure that we look at how fiscally responsible people, that means that people who are responsible with managing their money, create and manage personal budgets. Now, a lot of people don't like to adhere to a budget. A lot of people think that a budget is just one of those bad B words that you're not supposed to say, because it makes you be responsible. It forces you to understand your money and to take charge of your money instead of letting your money take charge of you. And so fiscally responsible people definitely create and manage budgets in order to understand where their money is coming in, where their money is going out, and are those two matching up? Are you saving? Are you investing for your future? And so we're going to go through a couple of different points that deal with this learning target on being able to analyze how fiscally responsible people create and manage a personal budget. In essence, everybody's budget has two essential elements, two essential parts, and those parts are income and expenditure. So your basic definition of that income is money that is coming into your budget. It is putting you in the black or in the positive. Expenditures is money going out of your budget, and that puts you in the red per se. So income could come from various sources. Usually you get a paycheck. It could even be money that you get from grandma, grandpa, dad, mom, whoever during Christmas for your birthday. And your expenditures are going to be expenses that you incur. So maybe you want to buy a car, or you got to put gas in your car, get the oil changed in it, etc. Those are going to be your expenditures. And so what a budget looks like, and a budget, just a simple definition, that is a plan for how you're going to spend your money. So if you say that you have your income will be your paycheck of $250, your expenditures, let's say that you have to put gas in your car, and that's for a full tank would be $50. You have maybe a car payment, or let's say that you have to get your oil changed, that's another $40. So you see here that you still have left over $160. Well, what are you going to do with that $160? Maybe you want to go grab a cup of coffee from the coffee shop. Maybe you want to go out to dinner, or you got a hot date, something along those lines. All right, so you would come up with different lines over here for those expenses. I would also argue one of the strategies I use, and I'll talk about this later on, is creating a zero balance budget to make every dollar that you have over here for income or in the plus equal out over here. So maybe you even want to view saving as an expense. So for every paycheck you get, you want to put 10% or 20% into your savings account. All right, so that's a $25 or $50 expense right there. All right, maybe you want to be able to give some of that money away as well. You know, maybe you want to give 10% away, so that's another $25 over here. So a zero balance budget means that you take everything over here and make it match up with your expenditures, and the two basic parts of your budget or your plan for spending money are income and expenditures. So it's a great feeling when you get your paycheck, right? Obviously you work for some money, get that put in your bank account, and you're feeling pretty good. Well, there's a lot of different components that go into a paycheck, and we're not going to break down all of them, but there are some definitions that we need to be familiar with. The first is gross pay. Now, if you ever hear people talk about, oh, that person makes $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, that's their gross pay. That's what your salary would be, or your pay would be before taxes. Now, when you get your paycheck, it is significantly less than what your gross pay says that it should be, because there are taxes that have to come out. You have to pay your FICA taxes, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. You have to pay federal income tax. You pay state income tax. If you have any health insurance plans, vision, dental, all that's going to come out. If you have a 401k retirement plan, that money's going to come out before you see that number that shows up right here on the check for the actual amount. So there's a ton of money that comes out from that. So your gross pay is what you would get paid before any of those expenses come out. Your net pay is what you actually take home. That is what is deposited into your bank account. That is what you see in the amount portion of your check. So just to clarify, be familiar with those terms. When you look at your budget, you want to look at why are you saving money, right? A savings account with no purpose is just a slush fund. You're going to spend it on whatever you want to, because you have all this money sitting in the bank, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to spend that money. Well, it's good to set financial goals, and there are three different types of financial goals that I'd like for you to be familiar with. They're short, intermediate, and long-term goals. The short-term goal is something that will take you less than 3 months to be able to complete. So maybe a short-term goal is saving enough money to go buy some baseball tickets. Maybe it's saving up enough money to be able to buy a new iPod or iPad, something along those lines that you could complete relatively quickly. The second type of goal is an intermediate goal, which is going to take you somewhere between 3 months and 1 year to be able to complete. So you could very easily save up and buy a car within that time, not like a fancy Lexus, but you know, one that gets you from point A to point B. So you could save up to do that. So short-term goals, 3 months. Intermediate goals, 3 months to a year. Long-term goals, you probably guessed, are going to be greater than 1 year. Anything that takes you longer than that. So maybe you're saving for college. Maybe you want to pay off student loans or pay off a debt that you have. That could be a long-term financial goal. So when we budget and when we save money, we want to save for a reason. And those goals are going to help us stay focused with our savings. Okay, the last thing that I'd like to talk to you guys about are different types of expenses, fixed and variable, and then some savings and investing plans. So there's two different types of expenses that you'll see within your budget. They are fixed, sorry about that. They are fixed expenses and they are variable expenses. Fixed expenses are the ones that are always going to stay the same. So I know that when I open up my mortgage bill, it comes in the mail exactly for how much it's going to be every single month. Your rent doesn't change every single month. It doesn't matter if I'm at my house 24 hours a day or if I'm not there for an entire week. That expense is going to be the same. So fixed expenses do not change. Variable expenses are ones that do change based on how much you use it. So when I open up the electric bill, it's going to be a little bit different every month. When I open up the water bill, it's going to be a little bit different every month because they vary based on how much you use them. So that's an easy way to remember that. Fixed is like something that's fixed to the ground. It's not going to move. Variable, they vary. Well, it's important to have, we talked about savings and investing plans. Within your budget, make sure that you have a plan for saving money. That cannot be your last priority. You have to pay yourself first. And so you have various investment options that are out there for you. I'll go through that in a different lesson. But I know for one, that I use a program, a website that just takes money out of my bank account and invests it in mutual funds without me even seeing it. And a lot of times I set it a little bit higher than what I'm comfortable with, so that a lot of times that money's gone and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I know that I'm saving up and investing that money so that I will have more money down the road. So it hurts a little bit to not be able to go out and to spend that money because you feel like you worked for it, but you're going to be better off down the road for that. So hopefully this video on budgeting has given you a lot of information. You'll go through an activity where you'll look at how to balance budgets and whatnot here in just a little bit. All right, have a great day.